Coming up on today's Work It Out with Lauri, the Weaponized Performance Improvement Plan and how this can result in a fast track to the exit door.
Join us for that on this brand new episode of Work It Out with Lauri.
Howdy, WBP crew. Welcome to Work It Out with Lauri, the no-nonsense show for anyone navigating workplace bullying, chaos, or straight-up dysfunction. I'm Lauri Lilly, your host. I'm here to help you make sense of all the drama you're experiencing at work.
And I'm Cosmo Esplin, Sir Showrunner and your backstage guide, directly providing Lauri with your questions and workplace dilemmas so you get the practical solutions you need. So what do you say? Let's work it out. Greetings once again, Work It Out with Lauri fans. I'm Cosmo Esplin, back here once again to provide your host Lauri Lilly with your questions submitted through the Workplace Bullying Project website. We're excited about today's show, and I imagine, based on the smile on your face, Lauri, that you are as well.
Yes, I think today's a good one.
Yeah, it is, and it's a topic that you've talked about a lot on LinkedIn and Substack and elsewhere, but we haven't covered on this podcast yet. So you ready for me to hurl the question at you?
Bring it on.
All right. This person wishes to remain anonymous, but says, quote, I am a 69-year-old professional in media, was laid off, not ready for retirement, and felt lucky to find a new job in my industry. 2 weeks into a new job, I started to get emails that included what seemed like the entire address list of my company, pointing out small errors and mistakes in processes. At first, my manager blew it off as no big thing, what is wrong with them, but never addressed it with that person's manager. As the emails grew more frequent and relentless, my one-on-ones changed from progress reports to why can't you get it together? Whatever I did wasn't good enough. Even met with the person and my manager. They smirked through most of it and offered no suggestions or a path forward. I have to say the things that were pointed out wouldn't affect anyone's bottom line. I had done that job at another company for 20 years, never a complaint. It was why I was told I was hired. Long story short, pipped 9 months into the job, out after 18 months. So this is an unfortunate scenario, but one that I imagine you're going to argue is somewhat common in modern workplaces.
Yes, it sure is. And for anyone who doesn't know, PIP stands for Performance Improvement Plan.
Laying the groundwork here.
Yep, we use short form because, my goodness, the amount of times we say that phrase is really unfortunate. So there's a lot going on here. And of course, as I always say, I don't have the full scope. This person did a great job of giving the lay of the land. I will say when I speak to folks during an initial consult, I ask a lot of questions about relationships to the individuals who are bullying them and others who may be supporting them, because it really gives a clear picture. So we're missing a couple of pieces of information, but I'm going to try and connect the dots based on what was provided.
Sherlock it.
Yeah, going to Nancy Drew it.
That's the detective you prefer, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
Nancy Drew all the way. It sounds to me like this person is a peer. And the fact that you or this person was getting blasted right off the bat 2 weeks in, threat. Threat level midnight, per the office. First of all, anyone who does that blasting of emails, it's such a significant sign of weakness. What they don't realize is they look ridiculous. For anyone who is doing this, and for anyone on the receiving end of this type of behavior, please know the other person looks absolutely crazy. They're wasting a lot of people's time, and they're showing a sign of their character to others that is not a good look, right? These are small things that, if it really was that important, could have been addressed one-to-one, but they were doing it purposefully. They were doing it purposefully to make you look bad and to put you on the defense. And so typically people are in a position where they're feeling like they have to respond to these ridiculous emails. And that's such an unfortunate situation, because now you're feeling like you're having to prove yourself, and it creates this dynamic of power, and that's exactly what this person was doing. They were creating a power dynamic where they were going to make you look like a fool. As such, you were going to acquiesce. And so what happens here, and again, I'm assuming this person was a peer, the person who started to bully you, is that they have a relationship with your manager, is what I can imagine, given the fact that over time, you're telling me in this message here, that slowly as these email blasts, ridiculousness, right, with the nitpicking and the relentless criticism and the micromanagement and the excessive monitoring, all of this ridiculousness, that slowly but surely your meetings turn from abundant conversations about your work and progress reports and maybe barriers that you're having to your success to. Now all of a sudden, this bully has really made an impact on your imposter leader. Note, imposter leader.
Warning signs are going off.
My guess is that this person has been jabberjawing right in the ear of your leader. So beyond just these email blasts, which again are effective, and they're only effective with imposter leaders and people of very low character.
By the way, just to wedge a quick plug in here, if you want to know more about imposter leadership, subscribe to Bullyproof Truth in Action on Substack. Under the paywall, you will get access to WBP Basics. We dropped the first one last week on just that, IL, imposter leadership. Go and check that out. Anyway, please continue, Lauri. That's
Thanks,
the fastest
Cosmo.
I've ever spoken.
Thanks, Cosmo. That's a great plug. And we talk about imposter leadership because this whole dynamic would never have been possible with a true leader. Never, ever, ever would have been possible. A true leader would have been able to see your competencies and your character and your communication style and known the truth. And if there were legitimate issues with whatever this person was blasting you, they would have been having really abundant conversations where it was really just open-ended feedback and trying to solve for some of these issues. And if there were legitimate issues with performance, we're talking about getting into specifics, and we're talking about how can we grow? What can we do to provide feedback that will allow you to learn and grow and perhaps upskill in a few areas?
It has to be an open dialogue, not a one-sided conversation, right?
Right. And it sounds to me like this bully's campaign, it worked. And that's what this is. This is a campaign. So, sure enough, now there's a meeting with those two. They've clearly been in contact. If they're smirking at you, that's where I always tell folks, and I really recommend everyone learn this skill. Observe, listen, and look for patterns. We need to be able to recognize patterns. Pattern recognition is a massive superpower. It can provide so many insights and tidbits and nuggets that you can connect the dots here.
You can become pattern man or pattern woman.
That's right. You will be amazed when you can develop that skill. And I'm not saying this person didn't have it. Obviously, they saw patterns. Started with a couple of emails. Now they're doing it on a regular basis. The one-to-one sessions with their leader starts to go downhill because the leader has been sucked in to the campaign against the person who shared this message. And sure enough, what happens next? The weaponized performance improvement plan. Again, we don't know what happened in all these one-to-ones. I really don't know if this leader was having truly abundant growth focused conversations around any performance items. Based on what I do know, this person is an imposter leader. They wouldn't know how to have that conversation at all. It's a foreign concept. So probably the bully, their campaign was effective. The imposter leader, tired. Oh, they're so tired. They do not know how to lead. Instead, they begin seeing the target as the difficult person. This person is causing so many problems. Look at how much time I'm having to spend with this person about this other person, the bully. When the bully is the difficult one. The bully is the one who's psychologically abusing them, right? But they're not seeing that. They're just
They're living in a bizarro world. Continuing with the comic book theme today.
They are in bizarro world, and this is classic imposter leadership, and they are now actively sponsoring the bully. So now we're on the PIP. I can guarantee you, without even knowing what this PIP looked like, for this person who wrote this, send me a note back if you hear this. Was it filled with lies? Was it filled with absolute exaggerations? Like things that you'd never ever heard of before, that had never been presented to you or discussed with you? Was it just a complete annihilation of your character? Did it have an expectation of immediate change? Which, by the way, anyone who is on a PIP who is told that they have to immediately change, it's disqualifying. There is no such thing as immediate change. I bet you money it didn't have an appropriate timeline where you were given specific opportunities to do trainings, or maybe there were some upskilling opportunities, or sessions with other people in the organization who could maybe help and provide support in an area of quote unquote performance requirement or performance upskilling, whatever it may be. Did it lack complete support? I bet you money you were on an island.
You're betting a lot of money today on these truth claims.
That's how much I know about these weaponized PIPs. I have seen too many to count. It will never cease to shock me, the behavior of supposed alleged professionals out there who are in control of people's livelihoods. The impact that this behavior has on people is very serious. And so I know what this PIP looked like without even seeing it. It was a complete joke, a fabrication. It was probably defaming, and it was probably soul crushing. It was developed with one goal in mind: for you to fail. You can tell a performance improvement plan that is designed and created with your success in mind. And I can say that because I've developed them. I have developed performance improvement plans that have in mind the success of the employee, and it looks and feels completely different. To this person who wrote in this question, I'm so sorry this happened to you. I want you to know this is a common way of getting rid of a person who is a threat to a peer. And this peer of yours, the bully, must have had quite a lot of pull. They were working that narrative hard. They were working the scenes with your leader, your imposter leader, their imposter leader, and anyone else who would listen. And so there was no chance for success here. There really wasn't. This person, for whatever reason, deemed you a threat. And from there, the clock was ticking.
So a lot of this really depends on the context of the organization as a whole. I imagine if it's to use the buzzword, a toxic workplace, or if you have imposter leadership at the helm, then the PIP being targeted towards you has a much higher probability of being a weaponized tool than an actual improvement plan, which is in the title, but that's not always what it is.
Yes, look at the structure of it. I've seen PIPs that come through in an email, and it has been 6 bullets in an email that are the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. PIPs are structured. They take a specific form, and in fact, I've developed a performance improvement plan protocol that is trauma-based, trauma-informed, it's wellness-based, and it's ethical. And I stand behind this PIP. For anyone who's interested, let me know. Send me an email at workplacebullyproject@gmail.com. Let me know if you're interested in receiving that and or getting some training. This is one of the initiatives I'm picking up, just as a little tidbit for anyone listening, is sharing what a proper performance improvement plan looks like. What do the steps up to the PIP look like? And what do the post steps look like? It's an entire process, and from what I can tell, not a single organization that knows how to actually successfully upskill a person who is maybe struggling. But again, none of my clients were. They were high performance, and they were being bullied out the door by way of a weaponized PIP.
So if you feel like you're stuck in a situation or a scenario like this person is experiencing or that you've heard elsewhere on this podcast, then step one is to reach out through Lauri. She gave the email a minute ago and schedule a free consultation and keep checking out her content on Substack and via this podcast. Even that, I think, can shed a lot of light on the subject at times. So just keep an eye out for more WBP content, and thanks for answering this question, Lauri. It was a good one.
Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. This is a really serious issue we have in the bullying world is the weaponized PIP. So I'll stand on this mountain every day with my bullhorn and scream as loud as I can about how important it is. If you are getting even the slightest indication a PIP is coming, you need support. That's not a joke. I strongly recommend you schedule an initial consult to get support from me. How you respond to the PIP and how you actually work through the PIP can extend your timeline, which helps if you're looking for another job. And I always say, just as a little asterisk here, instead of PIP meaning performance improvement plan, it really should stand for paid interview period. If you feel a PIP is coming,
I love a good acronym switch up.
Keep it moving, folks. You're now on a race against the clock. But again, we don't want that desperation to kick in. That leads to bad decision making, and it can actually lead to rationalization of red flags in a potential job. And if you take that job, the red flags will come to fruition, and the cycle of abuse can continue. That's why intervention and getting help from people who are experts, such as me, myself, and I, is so helpful because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of emotions involved. And what we want to avoid is desperation. You are in control. The support you get is critical so you make the right decisions along every step of this path when you're unfortunately being bullied. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you want to support my work, and Cosmo, who's always helping out here, please subscribe. We really appreciate that. Click like and share with friends and family or anyone who needs this. That's the best way you can help us out here, by spreading awareness.
Exactly. All right. Well, we'll see you next time, everybody. Thanks for tuning in today.
Thanks, Cosmo. See y'all. Thanks so much for tuning in to Work It Out with Lauri. If today's episode hit home at all, please share it with someone who needs it. And please remember, you deserve to work in peace. Oh, and hey, if you're listening and you're currently a target of a workplace bully and you need help, please feel free to schedule an initial consult with me. It's completely free and completely confidential. I've got your back.
And remember to follow this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Substack. Plus, send us your story or your question at workplacebullyingproject.com.
We'll see you next time, and we'll work it out together.